What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, hummingbird? The word is cheating, cheaters, infidelity. Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 17, A Match Made in Scandal. So let's get started with Allan and Madison. So Allan and Madison meet up with all three experts. In the very beginning of the meeting, Pastor Cal apologizes to Allan for basically giving him one of the worst experiences, one of the worst matches in Married at First Sight history. And I thought that that was really good of Pastor Cal to apologize to Allan because Allan was really robbed of this experience. Allan, for all intents and purposes, Allan seems like a really good guy, really nice guy. He was in this for the right reasons. He did all the work that he was supposed to do. He followed instructions from the experts. He gave it his all. He was open. He was vulnerable. He was honest with Madison. He really wanted this to work. He saw challenges, but he tried to overcome those challenges. He always kept a very positive attitude. He was just a great guy. He was a perfect candidate for this show. But because he was matched with a woman with very low morals, he got robbed of the whole experience. And yeah, so Pastor Cal apologized to him. Madison also apologizes to him. And Allan really didn't want to hear her apology. He didn't want to hear anything at all from her. And when Madison apologized and then got shut down by him, she then says something like, well, I don't know what else I don't know what else you want me to say. I've already apologized. I don't know what else you want me to do. The way that she was so defensive like that completely took out any sincerity in the apology. The whole entire time she's been talking to us about how I really want to talk to Allan. I want to give him my side of the story. I want to apologize to Allan, let him know how sorry I am. So when she got the opportunity to do that and he basically didn't want to hear her voice, she got defensive. And I'm thinking to myself, he has the right to be angry. He has the right to not want to hear you right now. He has the right to accept or not accept your apology. So the fact that you get defensive because he's still processing this mess that you've put him in doesn't give you the right to be defensive and to act like, you're the victim or we need to be sympathetic to you because he doesn't want to hear your apology. You should apologize. You do need to apologize to him. And if he doesn't want to hear the apology, then after that, you keep quiet. You don't just be like, oh, I don't know what else y'all want me to say. I'm trying to apologize, but he doesn't want to hear it. No, you don't say that because it takes away the sincerity of the apology. But Madison, you don't have a sincere bone in your body. Allan asks Madison if you had already made up your mind that you didn't want to be with me, but instead you wanted to be with David. Why did you go through the motions with me that you wanted to make this work? You pretended like you really wanted this to work. You gave me false hope. You dangled that carrot in front of me. You made me believe that there was a possibility that we'd be together. Why go through the rigmarole if you had already made up your mind that you wanted to be with David? And Madison says, well, I hadn't made up my mind yet. She's continuing to lie even though they've been exposed, thanks to Michelle. It's not like they brought this on their own. They voluntarily told their spouses and or everybody else, hey, this is what's been going on. We've been having feelings for one another. They only admitted to cheating once they were exposed by Michelle. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So she says that she had not made up her mind yet on whether she was going to stay with Allan or David. And that's a lot of crap because she knew that she didn't want to be with Allan. She knew that she saw that there was no future between her and Allan. And because of the fact that she was doing whatever the hell she was doing with David, that was enough right there to be a woman, to be an adult, to be a person with any kind of integrity and character, to tell your spouse, hey, I'm sorry, I don't want to continue to lead you on. Let's just go ahead and nip this in the bud and pursue other endeavors. And by the way, I'm also interested in David. That's what she should have done. She was playing both men, okay, because she could. She was playing both men because she could. Um, she's like an animal, like a wild hyena who couldn't control her hormones when she was lusting after another man. She couldn't, hold that all at bay until the end of this whole entire experiment, until the end of all of this, and then allow herself to pursue David. She couldn't do that because she was like this horny, uncontrollable hyena who was lusting and thirsting after a man that wasn't her husband, and she just had to act on it, act on her animalistic urges. So she should have just nipped it in the bud with Allan and saved him all of this pain and all of this anguish. Allan says to her, he says, I thought really highly of you, and I never thought that you were this type of a woman. Exactly. Thank you, Allan. Um, the experts, he was basically done at this point when he told her that, I didn't think that you were this type of a woman. He was basically done with the whole conversation. And the experts were trying to tell Allan that, look, this is just, we wanted to give you an opportunity to get some type of closure. And Allan was like, yeah, I really don't need any closure or anything else from this woman. Dr. Pepper says to Madison, I thought very highly of you as well, because I knew that you were having challenges with Allan, and I thought you were working through those challenges, that you were going to really try to give this your all, but then coming to find out that you were really trying to get to know another woman's husband. Dr. Pepper had to put in her 2 cents in all of this. Madison tells us that Allan is very spiteful. I can't say what I really want to say because I'm going to get a yellow $sign on this video. Madison, he's not spiteful. He's just embarrassed. He's hurt. He's not spiteful. Like, what has he done that has been, if anything, you're spiteful because you purposely hurt this man. You purposely embarrassed this man. You're not, that's like, girl, stop. Another thing about her apologizing, I don't understand when you're doing something intentional, okay, with a lot of intent, a lot of planning, a lot of calculation, like her whole entire affair with David. And then you come back and you apologize as if it was like a mistake, as if, you accidentally stepped on Allan's foot, by accident, or you accidentally knocked over his drink. I don't understand that. I don't understand apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry that, this happened. I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't mean to hurt you. But the whole entire time that you were making plans and to see David and seeing David and sleeping with David, were you feeling sorrow? Were you sorry during any of those times, or were you only sorry because you got caught? Moving on. David and Michelle also meet with the experts. David apologizes to Michelle, but he's very defensive. He's extremely defensive. I look at David and I can't, every time I look at David, I keep thinking to myself, so Madison constantly dogged out Allan and his sense of style, made this man spend 3 stacks on new clothes, but then she's okay to walk around and be seen with David, who looks like a beach bum, with his wild and crazy unkept hair, with his shorts and tank tops. She's okay with that. She doesn't have an issue with that, but she had an issue with how Allan dressed. I just don't understand, because I'm looking at David sitting next to Michelle with his crazy ponytail, and I'm just like, wow, Madison, this makes sense to you? Choosing David over Allan, this makes sense to you? Especially when you were very adamant about not being matched with a person of color. Okay. So David tries to apologize to Michelle. Of course, you know how Michelle is. Whenever he tries to apologize, she doesn't accept it. She doesn't take it seriously. And he still blames Michelle because she wasn't giving him enough attention. So a man who's damn near 40 years old is still thinking like a child. This woman isn't giving you attention, so why don't you tell her, you're not giving me attention, so I don't want to be with you. I want to end this. Y'all, this is not like they were married for 20 years and they've got kids and grandkids and they have home and they have investments and they have like bank accounts and all kinds of stuff intermingled. You've known this woman for a hot minute. It's okay to tell her, I'm not feeling this because you're not feeling me. It was so much easier for David to tell Michelle because Michelle was giving him an out. Michelle was making it difficult for him. Michelle really didn't care for the way he lived his life. She really couldn't see herself matched with this person. So Michelle had given him an out. Unintentionally, of course. It wasn't like she said, hey, leave me. But because of their issues and their problems and her not accepting him for who he was, living in his parents' basement, she gave him an out. And he could have taken that out and said, you know what, Michelle, let me tell you something. This isn't going to work out. I enjoy living in my parents' basement. I don't plan on leaving my parents' basement. You don't like that. You have a problem with that. And I think I'm also catching feelings for somebody else. So let's just go ahead and end it right here. He had the perfect opportunity, like, as opposed to Madison, who was with someone who was like falling for her. I can sort of understand her having a difficult time telling Allan because Allan was really falling for her, as opposed to David telling Michelle, and Michelle could have cared less of what David did. So he had an out, but that tells you a lot about the kind of person that David is. That even when he is given on a silver platter the opportunity to make the right decision, he still makes the wrong one. He still makes the wrong decision. Okay, because he could have been like, hey, you don't like me, you're not feeling me, you're not attracted to me, you don't ask me how my day was, you don't give me a hug, you're not affectionate, you could care less about what I'm doing, you don't care if I live or die. So let's just end it right here. And he could have gone about his business and waited in the wings for Madison to end her marriage. That would have been an easy way out, and he could have saved Grace. He still would have been, I would have a lot of respect for David if he would have done that. Right? I would have had a lot of respect for him if he would have done that, but he didn't. He decides to stay with a woman who doesn't really care for him, but who is still in the marriage because she could have walked away too. But she was still willing to give it a try because Dr. Pia made her feel so guilty about judging this man for the fact that he lived in his parents' basement. So she was still trying to work through that, try to get over that to see if there really is something going on between her and David, right? So my point is that, hey, you were given so during all the times that she was telling him, why do you live in your parents' basement? I don't get it. I don't like it. When he got caught with the text message, that was another out. He could have been like, yes, I've texted another woman and I really want to be with this other woman. I don't want to be with you. He told her, I'm talking to other females, the woman that I met on Hinge, the woman that I met for coffee. I'm communicating with other women. So I can't be in this relationship with you. That was another out. But he still decided to stay, pretend like he wanted to make this marriage work. But he would rather cheat than be honest and avoid cheating, end his marriage, and go be with the woman that he really wanted to be with. So the fact that he was still whining about how she doesn't give me any attention, the experts were like, hey, you know what? You can cut that. We don't really care about that anymore. We have moved past that. You cannot use that as an excuse anymore because two wrongs don't make a right. Just because she wasn't giving you attention did not give you the right to go and cheat on her. You still are an adult. You're a man. Okay, we think that your brain cells are working and that they're connected. So you should have just told her, I don't want to be with you. So instead of this whole, David, are you really expecting people to be sympathetic with you after what you've done? Like you cheated on Michelle, regardless of the fact that she wasn't giving you any attention. You cheated on her and you want us to be like, and a lot of people are, unfortunately, a lot of people are like, oh, he could do whatever he wanted because she was so horrible to him. I don't think there's ever a reason, an excuse, or a justification for cheating. Maybe if you are in a very, very abusive relationship and leaving could cost you your life, but you're finding comfort and solace in someone else. But leaving your significant other could cost you your life. If you told your husband who is extremely abusive to you, hey, I'm going to leave you for another man, and you're worried about him ending your life, literally making your heart stop beating, I can understand. Okay, I can understand. Other than that, if your life is not in danger, there is no justification for cheating. You should just end it. It's not like you've invested years and years and years and years with this woman. You have children with this woman, and you don't know how to break up your happy home. You don't know how to break up your family. It's not like that. You met her yesterday. It's okay to walk away today. So someone on TikTok had said that the type of people that David and Madison are, they would have cheated regardless, whether they were happy or not happy, whether their spouses were horrible to them or the best spouses ever. They still would have done what they did because they just are those types of people. So it wouldn't have mattered. And I kind of believe that because I think what would have happened, let's say that Michelle was just as good to David as Allan was to Madison. I think that once Madison and David saw each other and that attraction was there, they would have still pursued it. But in this situation, David, he feels like, he thinks, because he's an idiot, he thinks he has an excuse to do what he did because Michelle wasn't giving him the time of day. But even if she was, he still would have done what he did with Madison. David says he's going to work on himself and pursue Madison. Because they asked him, so what are your plans, David? And he was like, well, I'm gonna self-reflect. I'm gonna work on myself. Still going to pursue Madison. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. You are involved in this entanglement with this woman. Okay, you made yourself look like a complete, you know what, on television for the whole world to see you in this light. And you're going to stay in this muck. You're going to stay in this filth with her, but you're going to self-reflect and improve yourself. Okay. Michelle said that she did care about him because she stayed in the marriage. Now, Michelle, let's be honest. Let's be 100% honest. I know that you didn't want to see this man murdered, or you didn't want to see him die a horrible death. But let's not play with ourselves and talk and say that you cared about this man, and just the fact that you didn't leave is supposed to prove that you wanted to stay with him, that you wanted this to work. I don't think so, Michelle. I think that in your mind, you knew early on that you were going to say no on decision day. I think you had that wall up, and that wall was not going to come down. And I think that the things about him that bothered you, you were going to let them bother. You weren't trying to work through that or overcome that. And that's okay. That's the thing that I need Michelle to understand. It's okay if you feel like this guy was not the guy for you. That is perfectly okay. But don't try to be more of a victim than what you are. Girl, we already sympathize with you for this man cheating on you. Don't try to lay it on, triple thick by, oh, he did this to me and I still cared about him. I cared about him so much. No, you didn't. You didn't care about him at all. Okay. You didn't care. So you stayed because you're on a show. You had no issues, working it, staying into the end and telling him and giving him a big fat hell no on decision day. That's why you stayed. You're going to give this soliloquy about how you just can't get over the fact that he's not financially stable and he lives with his parents and blah, 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 blah. And for that reason, you don't want to stay married. That's what you planned on doing. Okay. So let's not fool ourselves into thinking that you stayed because you cared. He said he didn't care. So then she asked him, well, did you care about me? And he said, no. He did. See, David's another hyena. He's another hyena who is controlled by these animalistic urges. He can't control himself like a human being. He's like an animal out there in the wild. Whatever he feels, he's going to act on it. And because Madison was, giving him the green light, he went for it. If him and Michelle were good, he would have stayed with Michelle. He probably would have even slept with Michelle if Michelle allowed it, and continued to see and sleep with Madison. That's what David would have done. He cared about Michelle. And at the end of it, he probably would have somehow ended it with Madison and stayed with Michelle if Michelle gave him the time of day. But he wouldn't have let Madison go. As long as Madison was willing to play in that dirty, filthy pond of infidelity, David was down with it. He was with it. He was with all of that. And he would have stayed with Michelle. While she struggled, okay, he did it in a catchy. He thought he was going to make this big dramatic scene by taking off his wedding band and laying it on the table. Nobody cared. It was very anticlimactic. Even the experts were like, that doesn't really mean anything because the marriage has been over. It's been dead for quite a while. So we don't even know why you were still wearing that thing. Dr. Pia tells David, I've lost all respect for you. And the reason why I feel like Dr. Pia has lost all respect for David is because David made her look like a damn fool. Because Dr. Pia was like the number one person who wanted to make Michelle feel bad and guilty and feel really horrible about herself for not accepting a man who lived in his parents' basement. Because remember how Dr. Pia showed her the footage of during the casting process when Michelle talked about the kind of man she wanted, and everything she described was David to a T, minus him living in his parents' basement. And Dr. Pia was like, you see, we gave you what you wanted. Everything you've listed, it's all in him. She reveled in that moment. Dr. Pia enjoyed that moment of letting her know, hey, don't get mad at us, because, Michelle felt some kind of way that they matched her with David. She felt like she deserved something better. And Dr. Pia was like, hold up, sweetheart, we gave you exactly what you wanted. And she showed her the footage. And Michelle felt horrible. She was like, how dare you? How dare you throw that back in my face? So Dr. Pia feels like David is a disappointment because she was really rooting for David. She enjoyed, I feel like Dr. Pia enjoyed belittling Michelle for not wanting to be with David. And now now it seems like she had every reason in the world to not want to be with this man. David and Madison, they go golfing, y'all. The whole entire time they talk about how they're basically trying to imply that, our spouses would not do anything like this, like go golfing. Okay, it's not skydiving. Who wouldn't mind going golf? Come on now. It's just golfing. You're just hitting a ball. It's not like, you're doing anything really adventurous like rock climbing or jumping out of an airplane or swimming in a lake full of alligators or anything like that. And only the two of you can enjoy those type of extreme type of activities. No, y'all went golfing, and they kept on, this is my kind of thing. I love golfing. This is what I enjoy doing. I'm just so glad I found someone who enjoys doing this too. Hitting a ball into a hole. Okay. David was like, I'm so nervous around you. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. You make me so nervous. He's not nervous. David is not nervous around Madison. I mean, y'all, I'm trying not to be crass. They've been together probably several times by now. He is not nervous. When I say been together, they've been together in the biblical sense. He's not nervous around Madison, but what he is unsure about is exactly how does Madison really feel about him, and how willing is how much is she willing to go? How far is she willing to go with him? Is she willing to take it all the way to the very end where they could possibly get married? Is she in it for the long haul, or is she in this for just, shits and giggles? And because she really doesn't want to settle down with a person of color, that in the end, she still wants to end up with a white man. So he's not nervous because, he's acting like he's got these first date jitters, or, this relationship is so new and he's so nervous. Y'all have been banging since Mexico, in my personal opinion. Y'all have been banging since Mexico. Y'all have at least been banging since y'all came back from Mexico. So stop it with the whole "you're making me nervous" thing. And he tells her how much he really likes her, but he doesn't want to come on too strong. And I'm like, is this are you like, what is this, David? First of all, let me tell y'all something. There is no real soul connection between Madison and David. It's just sex. That's all it is. That's all it is. There's nothing more than that. There is no future. There is no whatever. There is no, this is the love of my life. We're falling in love with one another. We were meant to be. The universe brought us together. It's none of that. It's just sex. Madison does not really reciprocate. She's like, well, I feel strongly for you too, David. But you can tell she really doesn't. She had an itch and he scratched it, and that's it. He tells us that he knows his feelings for her are stronger than her feelings for him. That's what he tells us in his confessional. Let's move on. Juan and Carla. Let's just get to decision day. So decision day comes from Juan and Carla. Juan and Carla have been struggling with some very fundamental things. Juan has no attraction to Carla. He enjoys her. He likes her. He sees the good in her. He sees the positive in her. There is strengths to their relationship, but they don't overcome the weaknesses. And like I said, the major weakness is attraction. He doesn't have it for her. I don't think he really would care about her crystals and her Pilates and her tarot card reading if she was someone that he was attracted to. He would learn to live with it. When he brought it up to her, she was like, well, it's not like my whole life. It's not like I'm doing tarot card reading and, I'm doing all this spirituality stuff every day, every second of the day. It's just, like I was just trying to let you into my world. That's all. But the attraction isn't there. And a man is not going to stay with a woman that he doesn't have a physical attraction to. So I think that was her biggest issue. And then I think the second biggest issue was the fact that she quit her job. And I don't think Juan took to that lightly because he doesn't want to be seen as some kind of a simp, like, where this woman is expecting him to just take care of her. So they get to decision day, and she said no, that she wanted a divorce. And of course he agreed. And so that's the end of Juan and Carla. Yeah, I wish it could have worked out because you know what I liked about, she said something about how I like the fact that we bring like the child out in each other because they were very playful with one another, which I think was very important to keep a relationship fresh. Um, they're very playful with each other. They're both very outgoing. They both were like really extroverted people. They took chances. They took risks together. And unfortunately, because I think the attraction wasn't there, it just wasn't going to work out. And I'm glad that Carla understood that. Like, this man isn't attracted to me, so I'm not going to waste any more of my time. Even though if he was attracted to her, if there was that strong physical connection, I think she definitely would have said yes. Thomas and Camille struggles with the fact that Thomas isn't a little bit more assertive in their relationship. She wants him to take control. She wants him to take the reins. She says that, with her upbringing, because of her parents' divorce, she had to kind of like step in and be the mother figure for her siblings. And she's tired of taking care of people. She's tired of the one being the main decision maker. She wants somebody else to take up that role. And she expects that in Thomas. So that was her biggest hurdle, was the fact that he wasn't more assertive. He wasn't taking control. He wasn't the leader in the relationship, because she's tired of being the leader. And his issue was, I don't think he really had an issue with her, other than he was just hoping to meet her expectations. But nonetheless, on decision day, he said yes, and then he wanted to stay with her. And then when it came to her, you know how they do it, right? They kind of act like they're going to say no, but they end up saying yes. So she ended up saying yes as well. So they're going to be together. So another horrible season of Married at First Sight, 1 out of 5. Moving on to the group outing. So they all get together at some bar, and they're all sitting down. Ikechi says that because Imam talked about her experience, she was talking about her experience with Ikechi and how she suffered and how she was basically alone this whole entire time. And Ikechi was like, you're just trying to get votes. Okay, this isn't the presidential election. This isn't, no one's running for school president or class president. Like, what the hell are you talking about, Ikechi? She's talking about her experience. She's not trying to garner votes. So Imam said that, Ikechi said that Imam did not give him her all, that she didn't try hard enough with him, but he was barely there. We saw Ikechi exit that apartment so many times, it wasn't even funny. It was like a revolving door. I don't even know if he actually ever slept one night in that apartment. I don't think he did. So he wasn't even there for her to give anything to. Imam wants him to take accountability. Girl, a man like Ikechi will never take accountability. Okay, he will never take accountability. He will never, because he thinks he's right, everybody else is wrong. He thinks he's the smartest person in the room. He thinks that he's very condescending. He looks down on everybody. He's got a lot of self-esteem issues. He has a lot of insecurities. It's just, no, he will never take accountability. So, Imam, you're wasting your time trying to speak your truth and speak your piece. The group knows what you've been through. The group understands. The group gets it. You trying to explain it to Ikechi is a lost cause, because he's deaf to that. He doesn't want to hear that. He doesn't care, because he doesn't like you. He can't stand you. Um, yeah, so it's not going to work. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your breath talking to Imam and begging him to take accountability. Catching at some point got really activated when Imam was talking because he wanted to shut her up and he wanted to take over the conversation. But it got kind of heated and Imam ends up getting up and walking away. So then Juan asks David, so David, what have you been up to lately? David says, I've been pursuing Madison. Okay, I don't think that's what Juan meant. We know that you and Madison are carrying on with your illicit affair. We know that. We get it. We understand. Y'all walked in together, so we understand. That was just such a, and of course he's saying that to hurt Michelle. And he wants to hurt Michelle because he feels guilty for what he did. And he doesn't want to own up to what he did. So that comment was directed to Michelle. And the fact that he still wants Michelle to feel some kind of way means that he's still harboring some type of feelings for her. Because if he has really let go of Michelle and doesn't care about Michelle, he wouldn't waste time or energy to get a reaction out of her. So when he said, I'm busy pursuing Madison, to a simple question like, what have you been up to these days? No one's asking you about Madison. Like, come on, David. You're doing that because you're so immature. You're saying things because you're so immature. You're not a grown man. You're not a real man. And Madison, this is what you want? Girl. So he tries to, David tries to speak to Allan. The fact that you're talking to Allan after you just said, I'm still pursuing Madison. That man who is married to Madison is sitting right there, who was hurt by what you and Madison did. And you felt the need to tell Juan, I'm still pursuing Madison. And then in the same breath, look at Allan and say, oh, ain't no hard feelings, bro. What? There's something wrong with you, David. You need to be evaluated in an institution with people or by people who are wearing white coats and carrying clipboards. You need to be evaluated. How can you say, I'm still pursuing this man's wife, and then turn and look at that same man and be, so ain't no hard feelings, bro. And then try to shake his hand. And Allan was like, get the hell away from me. So Thomas is like, you know what? He says to David, Thomas says to David, look, I feel like I was there for you. I was your friend, blah, 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 blah. I had your back in so many situations. You owe me a damn explanation. Like, when did this all start? And David says, well, it started at the gym. Once again, which gym? The one in Mexico during y'all's honeymoon or the one in Chicago? Which, because the fact that you keep on saying which gym, every time somebody asks him, when did this start? Anytime somebody is expecting him to give a date of when this all began, he gives a location. Because it started in Mexico. I'm about 99.5% sure this affair started in Mexico. So when Thomas asked him, when did this start? He goes, it started at the gym. Not where, dumb. When? Do you know the difference between where and when? Madison, this is what you want to connect yourself to, girl? Okay. Madison said that, you know what, Michelle and David were not going to work out, because she didn't give a F about him. And at this point, Michelle was at the bar getting drinks. And when she heard her name, she turned around and she was like, I know you're not speaking for me about what I did or didn't give a damn about. And that's where the episode ended. Real quick. They showed us a clip for next week. And in that clip, it looks like Imam found a new man, and she's supposedly engaged. And she's telling Camille and Thomas, I'm engaged. And Camille wanted to bust out laughing because it's all a farce, right? It's just She found the first man she saw walking down the sidewalk. She grabbed him. I don't know how much money she paid this man to pretend to be her fiance to stick it to Ikechi. Girl, let Ikechi go. Let Ikechi go. Let that man go. He's not worth it, sweetheart. He's not worth it. He's nothing. He is nothing. Hey, ma'am, stop looking like a simp. Stop looking like a damn simp out here trying to hurry up and get a man and try to get back at your ex. Pretending to be that you're so happy with your girl, please stop. No, ma'am. I hope that's not how it's going to go. But that's what it's giving. I hope it's not going to go that way. I hope that they're just trying to tease us and mislead us, so that we can watch the show. I pray to God it's not going to go. Girl, I know you did not find the first walk. Girl, please tell me that you did not rent out a fiance just to get back at Ikechi, because Ikechi is not worth your time. He's not worth your energy. That just shows that you were really affected by this little imp. You're really, really affected by this little imp. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.